Bred to Win, brought to you by Arrowfield, the home of four-time champion sire Schnitzel.
At 10 million, take 500 more, at 10 million.
Hello, I'm Caroline Searcy. Welcome to a new edition of Bred to Win. Coming up on this week's show, our Aushorse news with more wonderful spring racing. We look at the huge success in Australia of horses sourced through the UK's historic Tattersalls sales ring. We meet the brilliantly named and outstandingly credentialed Paddington at New Zealand's Windsor Park stud. And Waikato studs Mark Chittick and his industry influences. First though, all the latest Aushorse news.
Boy is the leader from Traffic Warden and broadsiding the outside.
It was a great way for trainer James Cummings to bring up his 50th Group 1 winner with a quinella in the breed-shaping Golden Rose.
The champion T-Roll
broadsiding took out the race from high-quality stablemate Traffic Warden. The winner comes through an outstanding Australian family of My Gold Hope, Blue Storm through Steph Lara and Glissade. The Dam of Thousand Guineas winner Flit. Broadsiding is by three-time Group 1 winner Too Darn Hot, who was bred by Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber, by Dubawi from his triple Group 1 winning mare Dare Me. Too Darn Hot unfortunately not standing in Australia this spring. The other three-year-old feature also went to a son of Too Darn Hot as Perspiration took out the listed Heritage Stakes. He was bought for $270,000 by Kieran Maher Bloodstock and Group 1 Bloodstock from Rosari Farm as a Magic Millions yearling. A more Victorious won the Group 2 Shannon Stakes by former European sprint star Caravaggio out of Schnitzel mare Koizora, a daughter of Stuart Ramsey's good mare Sky Love. He was sold at the Inglis Classic sale by Beamer for $180,000 to Will Johnson and Derby Racing.
Oh, that's a win. First Light by 4 lengths.
Dubawi's First Light is on track for next week's Metropolitan with a dominant win in the Colin Stephen Quality. Bred and raced by Drakenstein Stud, his Dam by Galileo is a half-sister to dual US Grade 1 winner Angara.
In front, Macarena.
The English Graduate of the Week was Group 2 Golden Pendant winner Macarena. A real Arrowfield stud product being by four-time champion sire Schnitzel from the Starcraft mare We Can Say Mac, who's also produced dual stakes winner Missile Mantra. Macarena was a $250,000 Inglis Easter yearling sold by Arrowfield to Hawks Racing at the 2022 sale, while Schnitzel stands for $247,500 this season at Arrowfield, having covered 141 mares last season and already with more than 60 foals on the ground in 2024.
100 metres to go from Estriata, then Southport Tycoon.
Friday night at Moonee Valley produced some great racing. Southport Tycoon took out the Group 1 Manicato Stakes from top-class colt Growing Empire. A son of Written Tycoon, the 4-year-old Entire is from More Than Ready mare Ready to Rule, bred by Dundee Pastoral Company in Queensland. He was sold as a $300,000 Magic Millions yearling to Bennett Racing at the 2022 January sale, while his sire Written Tycoon stands this season at Victoria's Yulong Farm at a private fee. Despite only 4 runners, the Fian Stakes was one of the most exciting races of the weekend, with Pride of Jenny back to her front-running best, holding off Mr Brightside over the mile. She was a 2019 Inglis Classic yearling, sold for $100,000 by Sechenho stud to Cape Shank stud. She's from the O'Reilly mare Sancerre, who won 4 and placed 4 of 13, and is herself a daughter of Queensland Oaks winner Vouvray. Pride of Jenny's sire Pride of Dubai by Street Cry stands this season at Coolmore stud at a fee of $22,000. The honour roll of graduates who've been led around the historic Tattersalls sales ring in the UK reads like a modern-day who's who of Australian stakes winners, including the likes of Just Fine, Via Sistina, Zaki, Romantic Warrior, Fierce Impact and many more. but they're just part of a group that has been going on for generations, with Tattersalls having had an enormous influence over the breed and racetrack results in Australia for generations. Jason Tattersalls has a wonderful history, established in 1766 and selling incredible breed shapers, you know, going back as far as Mumtaz Mahal, generations of Oaks and Derby winners, champion stallions and broodmares. And it's been quite incredible in recent years, the exceptional Group 1 winners that have been sold to Australian interests. There's so much thoroughbred history to Tattersalls, isn't there?
Yeah, it's amazing history. Founded in 1766 in Hyde Park Corner in London. Amazing to think of what London was like that long ago. Amazing to think that Captain Cook hadn't discovered Australia at that point when we were first formed. And yeah, all the history that's gone there, and we've been here in Newmarket for over a century now. Newmarket became the central place for sales and training of horses sort of in the late 1800s. And yeah, we've been on this site for over 100 years, and yeah, selling lots of great racehorses to Australia and everywhere else in the world.
€1,500,000, you're below now, €1,500,000 here.
Well, we'll talk shortly about the two upcoming sales, the October yearling sale and the autumn horses in training sale. But really, looking at this Australian success and the horses bought through the Tattersalls sales ring, it is quite extraordinary. Via Sistina, of course, 2.7 million guineas she was bought for, winning the Pretty Polly, then of course won the Ranvet and the Wink Stakes here in Sydney just weeks ago in the spring. And of course, you know, Romantic Warrior, a Cox Plate winner. The list just goes on and on and on of the horses that have come out to Australia and won the Group 1s, Fierce Impact, Russian Camelot, and of course Royal Patronage, a winner of the Tramway just the other day.
Yeah, it's tremendous success down in Australia for Tattersalls graduates. You've referenced, you know, some great horses there that have been bought by Australian interests and have gone down there and won. Of course, there's horses like State of Rest, who came through the October yearling sale here a couple of years ago, that won a Cox Plate as well. And you know, there's numerous horses. I mean, if we go back, you know, decades, you know, 8 Carat was sourced in the Tattersalls sales ring before going on to be, you know, foundation mare down in New Zealand for Sir Patrick Hogan. You know, the Dam of Might and Power, Benediction, she came through the December sales here. So the history of this sort of Australian success that has happened through the sale ring here at Tattersalls, you know, goes back decades and is, you know, never been stronger really.
You know, it used to be, there were so many horses that would come from Europe, you know, obviously for generations, but it's really become a fixture for so many Australian trainers and bloodstock agents now.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Melbourne. I remember Attalack winning the Melbourne Cup in, I think it was 1986, you know, which was Sheikh Hamdan sending horses down to Colin Hayes. So the only surprise really was that it took so long for more Australians not to come up to the Northern Hemisphere to try and source horses. Yeah, Almirad was another horse that won the Cox Plate, I think in 1990, also for Colin or David Hayes. That success from Northern Hemisphere bred racehorses, you know, it happened quite a long time ago. Chris Waller first came here in 2006, when I think he'd just started training in Australia, and he bought some horses in training for not a lot of money, sort of in that 10 to 20,000 guineas mark, took them down to Australia, won races, won metropolitan races on a Saturday, and from that point onwards, it's just grown and grown. The Tattersalls October yearling sale, which is made up of 4 books, Book 1 and Book 2, highlights of the yearling sale season here in Europe. The stallion power in the last decade has just gone through the roof here in Europe. The likes of Frankel, Dubawi, Kingman, Lope de Vega, I think is probably as strong as roster of stallions here in Europe as they've been for 30 or 40 years or more. There was a period there where North America had stronger sort of turf horses than maybe Europe did, but in the last 10 or 15 years that's really swung back, which is why we get a lot of Americans also that come to the October yearling sale to buy yearlings for the burgeoning turf scene in the US.
We've seen horses come down, of course, at Russian Camelot being a perfect example, and you can actually source horses that can race a lot earlier than they used to in Australia.
I guess we get two different types of buyers from Australia that come to the yearling sales here. Obviously, they are at a disadvantage from a hemisphere point of view, but if you're buying a later maturing type, often, you know, they might not be at as great a disadvantage as you really think by the time they hit their maturity. The greatest example of that, of course, is Maccabee Diva, who went through the foal sales here, didn't find a buyer, remarkably, was shipped down by Tony Santic to Australia and ended up being one of the great legends of the turf. More recently, Russian Camelot, John Wheeler came up to book one of the October yearling sale that year, bought him for 120,000 guineas and, you know, won the South Australian Derby. So it's definitely possible. John Foote has been a great supporter of the sale in the last decade. He's bought some great horses, 50 Stars, Puissance de Lune, Grand Promenade, Sign Off, Furion. You know, there's plenty of success down under with horses that have been bought here and shipped straight down to be trained down there. There's also Australian buyers who are buying horses to stay up here in the Northern Hemisphere. Chris Waller, who, you know, was such a groundbreaker buying horses in training 2 decades ago, he's actually supported James Ferguson here, bought some yearlings to put in training here before shipping down to Australia if they're good enough. 2 horses that have been part of that project, Francesco Guardi and Albodigon, to name just 2.
The sale itself, you know, some of the horses again that we've seen just in recent weeks, Economics beating Auguste Rodin in the Irish Champion Stakes, Scorthy Champ winning the Group 1 Irish National Stakes on the weekend recently, You Got To Me in Irish Oaks, Sharon, the 2 Group 1s, including the Queen Anne at Royal Ascot. It's incredible the honour roll that comes through, you know, as yearlings, the horses that Tattersalls are selling.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic year on the track for Tattersalls graduates and October yearling sale graduates, Caroline. Economics was fantastic, winning the Irish Champion Stakes, owned by Sheikh Issa, His Royal Highness Sheikh Issa. They bought him here for 160,000 guineas. Fantastic to see him fully realise his potential. And to have Scorthy Champ win the National Stakes, you know, Group 1 winning 2-year-old, bought here for 155,000 at book 1 of the October yearling sale. You Got To Me. It's not every year you sell a classic winner. She won the Irish Oaks. She cost 200,000. Plenty of Group 1 success bought here at the sale ring as a yearling at the October yearling sale.
And looking at the autumn horses in training sale from the 28th of October, and I guess this is where we've really had a lot of Australian Group 1 winners that, you know, particularly in recent years we've heard about. You mentioned, of course, Gai Waterhouse, Adrian Bott, Johnny McKeever, Claudia Fitzgerald, you know, picking up incredible horses such as, we know, Just Fine, who won last year's Metropolitan, and again, just recently, Claudia really being credited with the purchase of Royal Patronage, who came out and won the Tramway.
Yeah, Gai and Adrian are doing a great service at the moment with the success that they've had buying at the Tattersalls Autumn Horses in Training sale. Claudia comes up, does the groundwork here with Johnny McKeever. The previous year was 300,000 guineas, Just Fine, that was great. Since 2022, purchases at the Autumn Horses in Training sale have won 47 group or listed races in Australia. You know, it's a remarkable figure. Part of the success of that is simply the size of the catalogue, 1,500 lots, maybe a little bit bigger, and also the actual people who bring the horses here to sell. You've got Juddmonte, Godolphin, Shadwell, all the big owner breeders. They're not just selling the horses they don't want anymore, they're selling very good horses. So it's a real opportunity for Australian buyers to you know, buy a quality racehorse, not just a chuck out. You know, we had Sean Ritchie come up here 2 years ago for the horses in training sale, bought 1 horse for 120,000 guineas. That was Maharajan, who then went down and won the New Zealand Cup and the Auckland Cup. So, you know, he came back in July, just gone, to buy another horse, and hopefully with Maharajan going to the Melbourne Cup, he might be back at the horses in training sale as well to try and source another horse. In terms of Australian buyers that might be interested in buying yearlings. Royal Ascot being such a great attraction to Australian owners. You know, Terry Henderson had Docklands running there last year, won the Britannia Handicap, ran a fantastic second in the Queen Anne this year. Terry's been a great supporter of young trainers here in England. You know, the great thing is there's something for everybody. If you want to buy a horse to take back to Australia that's a proven horse in training, we've got a sale for that. If you want to buy a yearling to try and mix it with the best up here in Europe, we've got a horse for that, a sale for that with the October yearling sales. And then if you want to buy a yearling to export to Australia straight away and try and be the next Maccabee Diva, we've got the horses for that too.
An exciting spring ahead for Tattersalls graduates in Australia, and good luck to the Aussie buyers heading to the UK next month. Coming up after the break on Bred to Win, the Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week, and we visit Paddington at Windsor Park Stud in New Zealand.
But it's Evaporate, 100 metres to go.
The Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week was Evaporate, the New Zealand bred Group 2 winner of Friday night's Stud Stakes at Moonee Valley. Purring Canto, standing at Sam and Cat Williams' Little Avondale Stud at the southern end of the North Island of New Zealand, has been a great representative of New Zealand's sire power, with elite performers in Australia such as Lost and Running, Rock and Horse, Little Brose and more. Purring Canto, a son of Street Cry, stands this season at a fee of $50,000 NZ plus GST. One of the most beautiful memories people have of the late Queen Elizabeth II was her fabulous skit with Paddington Bear not long before her passing. So when a gorgeous colt by Searcy was named Paddington and won 4 Group 1s in a matter of months only last year, he developed a cult following. And as a stunning equine specimen at Windsor Park Stud in New Zealand, his future as a stallion is assured.
And Paddington has done nothing but improve. The Irish Guineas winner comes right away to follow up in the St James's Palace.
Paddington, he's still going to be unbeaten this season. He's going to win the Sussex Stakes.
Roddy, well, you know, we love New Zealand because it's always so green, but unfortunately it does rain on days like this. But I tell you what, these stallions are looking amazing. So great to see Paddington here. I loved him as a racehorse. I think so many people did with that incredible name. And what about his looks?
Yeah, he's definitely a handsome boy, and he is loving the New Zealand grass. He's putting a kilo on a day, so look, he's really enjoying being here, and we're enjoying having him.
Yeah, it's a great relationship you have with Coolmore. I mean, you go back through some absolute greats of the breeding game, High Chaparral, Montjeu, those sorts of horses.
Oh, it's been an unbelievable relationship. This is our 25th year, so Tom said to me, you can have a present this year and you can have Paddington. So, no, it's been a fantastic relationship with the Magnier family and Coolmore Stud, and to have Paddington this year, we're so happy.
Everyone loves Paddington. When you see the little kids and their mums and dads all looking for, pointing out there's Paddington and talking about him, it's just very unusual. We haven't felt that before, you know, to go racing, and it's bigger than racing.
Emily Upjohn tries, but Paddington is too good.
Well, of course, a 4-time Group 1 winner, just an elite racehorse. The Irish 2000 Guineas, St James's Palace Stakes at Royal Ascot, the Eclipse Stakes and the Sussex, and he was 3rd in the Juddmonte International. And that was all within just over 2 months. I mean, that is an outstanding record.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking for in these horses, you know, these elite racehorses that can take the pressure, and he certainly did. I think it was 60-something days, 4 Group 1s, beating the older horses, you know, a huge effort. The St James Palace Stakes, one of the great stallion-making races, and Royal Ascot, the pressure of Royal Ascot. So, look, he's got all the things we look for. He's a beautiful animal, so, no, very, very, very happy.
He also won at 2 over 1,400 metres in Ireland, and of course we know his sire Searcy has had some outstanding 2-year-olds in Australia.
Yeah, look, it's one of the things you look for in stallions. You know, we like to see that they can handle the pressure of being a 2-year-old, and to win a race is just a bonus. So look, you know, he was nice and mature. I was lucky enough to see Searcy in France, and he was just a magnificent horse, and there's a lot of Searcy in Paddington.
He's got a lot of length about him as well, doesn't he? I mean, that Searcy sire line, we know, of course, is the pivotal Nureyev line, and has crossed so well, of course, with Nureyev's close brother in Sadler's Wells in that line.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he's got a lovely pedigree, but talking about his length, but he's also got real strength, which is a thing we look for in this part of the world. You know, a lot of the European horses don't have that big strength, but he is a very, very strong horse for a 4-year-old. And I'm sure he's just going to leave lovely types.
And he also has quality. I mean, this is the thing that I love seeing in these horses that have come from Europe. There's a quality and elegance about him, isn't there?
Yeah, and you know, some of that comes from Windsor, who we obviously stood here and was such a beautiful horse himself and had that real quality, and I think that's come through in his physique as well.
And such a strong European pedigree too on the dam side. So the Dam Modern Eagles, a stakes winner in France, her dam won a Grand Prix Sonalery, and he's just great value. I mean, when you compare to the fact he's standing for €55,000 in Ireland, and of course here in New Zealand standing for $35,000.
Yeah, like, unbelievable value. You know, Tom and I had some big discussions around service fee, and he wanted the horse to have the best opportunity as he could, and we thought that service fee was, you know, a reasonable target. And look, I think we got it right. He was filled pretty quickly, and I think we had him filled in 3 days. It's just an exciting time to have a very high-class racehorse. I mean, he was full before anyone had seen him, and now they've seen him. It's, you know, he blows people away. He really is a terrific type of horse. He is a high-price yearling, and he is just he's a magnificent horse.
And also, of course, Profondo. We're looking forward to seeing some of the first foals that are coming through this spring for him. He was a high-priced yearling and just an outstanding, again, you're talking about the physique and how he looks as well, but a $1.9 million sales topper by Deep Impact.
Yeah, well, he is very handsome and you know, got those flashy looks. He did get the 1.9 million as a yearling and went on and won a Group 1. And it's great to see when you get those high-priced, good-looking yearlings go on to be good racehorses. You know, we really, you know, think he's a big chance at making a stallion.
Profondo and the spring champion, the favourite, wins it easily.
Well, he won on debut as a 3-year-old over 1,400 metres, and the second start, he was second in the gloaming, then came out and won that Group 1, the Spring Champion Stakes. So he was out, you know, as soon as he was ready to go, obviously as a middle distance horse, he was out there and winning a Group 1.
Yeah, look, and we like to see those horses that can come out as early 3-year-olds and win those Group 1s. I mean, that race was won by Zavabil. I know Schwarzy ran second in it. You know, it stood the test of time in New Zealand. Our own Vanbrugh, who's doing a good job, he won that race. So look, we like those mature horses that can come out as 3-year-olds, so they can put that through into their progeny.
His Dam Honesty Prevails, a group winner herself by Redout's Choice, and you can see a lot of Redout's there in Profondo as well. There's an elegance about him as well. Of course, she's from the family of AP Indy.
Yeah, look, it's a lovely family, but with that Redout's Choice blood over the Deep Impact, it just gives him that little bit extra body, which we're seeing in the foals and in himself. So she is a beautiful mare, and she's put that through into himself. When I went to see him to buy him, he was magnificent in race condition, but he's let down into a magnificent stallion, and it's just so nice to see that beautiful colouring coming through in the foals as well. So we've got quite a few foals. I think we've got 15 Profondos on the ground now, and they've all got that beautiful colouring and marking. So look, you know, very excited. We're investing in stallions. We've got Paddington having his first year. We've got Armory's first yearlings, Profondo's first foals, and Circus's 2-year-olds. So we've got a lot to look forward to, and looking forward to the future.
Paddington, a stunning individual with a name you won't forget. Coming up after the break on Bred to Win, Waikato studs Mark Chittick in Arrowfield studs industry influences.
Obviously, I was born into the game. Well, earlier on, we were basically farmers with horses when we were in Palmerston North, etc. And my little passion probably was sort of leaning towards the farming side of things. But I headed off over to Whitton and then to the Irish National Stud. And at that stage, that's when Gary had a few health issues where he needed a bit of a hand. And I came back and became pretty hands-on in the farm at Thornton Park at that stage there, and once he got over his health issues, you know, he sort of said, well, if you want to head away now, you can, sort of thing. I suppose I was about 19, and apparently my comment was, well, I'm probably going to learn as much here as I'll learn anywhere, and we might as well get on with it. But certainly over all of that time, let's say the 30, 32 years or whatever it is, it was not long after that comment that we acquired Waikato Stud and moved north, which was obviously a massive turning point for us, with Gary and I working as a team and great support around us, family support and team support here over this last 30 years, and we've grown Waikato Stud from 430 acres that we originally acquired up to 2,000 acres, and I don't know how many stallions we've stood in that 30 years, but obviously champion stallions, etc, etc. There's no doubt about it. Obviously Gary's been the biggest influence on my career, like certainly the last 30 odd years or even a bit more. We probably rolled our sleeves up together and got stuck into it, you know, and every now and again took 5 minutes just to sit there and enjoy a little bit of success, but mostly we've been just head down, bum up and into it, and it's given us a great lifestyle, or given me a great lifestyle, taken us all over the world, met great people and had great times. And that's the great thing about the horse, there's always something to look forward to, and there's a Saturday or new foals or something racing, and look, it's just a wonderful game, and I wouldn't want to be in any other game. And yeah, thankfully to him, I suppose he's taught me a work ethic and to stick to your thoughts on breeding the best racehorse that we possibly can, and hopefully I can pass that on to the next generation.
That is Bred to Win for this week. Don't miss next week's show as we catch up with the remarkable breed shaper I Am Invincible at Yarraman Park Stud. I'm Caroline Searcy. I look forward to seeing you then.
Bred to Win, brought to you by Arrowfield, the home of 4-time champion sire Schnitzel.